Hi, welcome to Community Connection. I'm your host, Sarah Clark, and today with me I have Meichelle Arntz, founder and CEO of Angels Foster Care of Santa Barbara. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here to talk about our babies and our toddlers.
I know, it's so exciting, one of my favorite topics. So tell me a little bit, I don't know much about Angels Foster Care. I'd love to hear the story about how you started it and when that was and what's going on nowadays.
Thanks. 7 years ago, we started Angels Foster Care and started placing babies and toddlers that had been taken from their biological parents for abuse, neglect, and abandonment. And what we do is we match them with a special Angels family that just takes one toddler or baby at a time, or sometimes a sibling set, because we like to keep those together. And they keep them the whole time they're in the foster system, so they're not moved around. And it's a prevention for attachment disorders because they come into us and they're loved and cared for in wonderful homes, and they don't get moved, and so they can bond and attach and really settle into a family while their parents try and get safe, or sometimes if their parents don't get safe, then they're adopted by their Angels family.
So it could go a couple different ways. If their parents have a safe environment, they can go back to their parents, or they can be placed in a loving family.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. And so tell me, how did this all start? I mean, this is a big endeavor to take on. How was there not something in Santa Barbara like this? Or
no, we're the only program in the area, well, really in the whole state in some situations. Angels Foster Care is the only agency that does, for instance, special screening on the Angels families. We do the MMPI, the psychological screening on every parent that comes, because we want to just do that extra level of screening to make sure that the babies are very safe with the wonderful families we're putting them with. So our level of screening is much higher than the state standards. So it just really lends itself to a great group of Angels foster parents who are really dedicated to caring for one child and making a difference in one child's life. As you probably know, some programs you can have up to 6 foster kids in a home, so there's a lot of commotion and coming and going. With the Angels family, they're just focused on the one placement. They just take one placement at a time. So that's very different than a traditional foster care model. The other thing that's different is we require a full-time parent in the home. The reason is that these children have been taken for a particular reason that puts them at risk. And so we want them to learn to bond and attach. And that skill needs to be learned in the first 2 years of life. And so it's very important that those brain pathways are forged in those first 2 years, and that's why we have this special bonding time where the parents, there's a tag team going on sometimes, of course,
right,
but the baby's with a parent, which is really wonderful. And our kids don't have attachment disorders, which, as you know, is such a huge problem. Even with babies, internationally that have been in orphanages and stuff, it's one of the big concerns is attachment. So we just try and alleviate that issue, and the children just do so well when they're in loving homes and they can bond and attach and they feel safe. They do great.
They thrive,
they do great.
Sure.
Yep.
So tell me about how you find these families to foster these children.
It's a challenge, but we have amazing families. One of the critical needs that we have at Angels right now is that we had 18 adoptions last year, which we're a small Santa Barbara agency that serves Santa Barbara County. And that's a lot of adoptions even for a big agency.
Right.
So we're so thrilled that those infants and toddlers have found their forever families, because that's what we want to do. We want them to have a permanent place where they can stay and be loved and grow up. But the difficulty is that when you have 18 adoptions, you lose 18 families because they've completed their families. And so we are really at a critical low point with homes. And so I really appreciate you giving us this opportunity to come on your program today, because I know a lot of people see it. And even if some people can't take a baby at this time, it's not the right time for them. If they know someone who's looking to adopt or looking to help one child, we place babies 2 years and under. And we have 200 infants and toddlers in Santa Barbara County, just in our little area here, that need homes, that are under the age of 3. So we have 200 kids, and we just really need families. So that's the big thing that I'm asking to kind of spread the word. And if you can't take a child, then please talk to your neighbors and friends who, in conversation it comes up, like, oh, we're thinking about adopting, or we'd really like to expand our family, or we really want to help a child. Think of Angels Foster Care. It's a great way to give back, and it's a wonderful way to focus in on one person that you're changing a life,
Right, absolutely. And I'd love to hear some of the feedback that some of these families have shared with you about fostering. If you have any experiences to share.
I do. We have some incredible stories. I'll just share one that comes to mind. We had a little baby girl who was actually in a hospital in Los Angeles. She was a local child, but she had some heart issues that required care at LA Children's, and so she was out there. And I got a call from the county, and they said, we need a home for this baby. And she was only maybe a month old, and she'd already had a surgery. So I traveled out to see her, my background is in high-risk pregnancy and nursing, and so I went out to see the baby to see kind of medically, what we could do. And so we went ahead and were able to bring this baby back to Santa Barbara, and she went to a wonderful family who cared for her, and she was on a few medications. She had some needs medically. They did such an amazing job with her and ended up adopting her. And at the time, the specialists didn't know if she was going to even live because of her heart defect. And she's now 5 and thriving and doing amazingly well. She's had another surgery, and the sweetest, smartest little girl. And the family is completely in love with her. And it's just sort of just a match. And that happens so often. These babies come into the homes and you just see an immediate match, Yeah. And it just fits.
Wow.
Everything just fits. And that's fantastic. And then we also have stories where I have a wonderful foster family that worked with a birth mom who needed some support and help, and the social services were offering her classes and other things she needed to kind of get herself ready. And the family did visits with her with the baby. They were a foster-only family. They were not looking to adopt. They wanted to help. Mm-hmm. And they were just integral in getting this mom's confidence up and getting her helping support what the county was offering her as far as services go. And she was able to get safe, and the baby was returned to her after about 6 months, and that was also a great success story.
Absolutely.
And so our families serve in ways that are so personal and individual, just really focused on the needs of the baby. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing those stories. I love to hear the details to share with others how a decision like this can help so many people involved.
Yeah.
And I know you have an annual fundraiser that you do every spring coming up.
We do. Thank you so much. We do a luncheon. Sorry.
Okay.
We do a luncheon at the Biltmore here in Santa Barbara, and it's every spring, and we hold it in the afternoon. There's a marketplace. Saks Fifth Avenue is there. A lot of other wonderful vendors, and the participants come and they shop, and then we have a beautiful lunch, and it raises money to support training parents, recruiting parents, and getting babies into homes, and then supporting them with our services throughout their whole foster experience and through adoption if that's what occurs.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing all of this information, and I encourage our viewers to go to the website and attend the upcoming fundraiser, as well as look into other opportunities and reach out to you to see what volunteer opportunities there are. So thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing all of this with us.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for watching Community Connection. We'll see you next time.